Hello, this is video training. Sales and Inventory Level 2, Chapter 1. What we'll be covering in Chapter 1 is processing special orders. Before we begin, let me explain how special orders work internally so you'll have a better understanding of what's going on. If you didn't have a computer system, typically a customer would walk in the door, ask for a particular part that you may not have, want you to order it. You'd write that part down on a clipboard. You'd write the customer's name, you'd write the part number that you need to order, and then you'd manually write them out a receipt and probably take some type of a deposit. When it's time to order at the end of the day, you'll take a look at that clipboard, and in the course of the day you've been writing names down and part numbers down for customers walking in the door that need parts, for service work orders that need parts, and just parts that you've noticed looking back in your inventory that you may want to order when it's time to order. So 3 o'clock in the afternoon comes, it's time to order. You're going to go through that clipboard and you're going to say, okay, it's time to order my Yamaha parts. Let me pick out all my Yamaha parts that I need to order for customers, for service, and possibly things that I need to order for myself for inventory. When you're in the computer's literally going to be doing the same exact thing. Let me show you how you begin. We're going to take a couple of examples. We're going to go into the sales program. First by going into inventory, going into our sales program. Now we're going to be using the same functions covered in Level 1, Chapter 2, selling parts. So let's take a typical example. Customer comes walking in the door, needs the part that we do not have. Customer with tax. Let's take our customer, I'm just going to type in MO, and we've got Tom Moore. Let's just hit the Enter key. That's who I am. Okay, let's assume that Tom needs this particular part right here. And I'll tell Tom that that's $24.94. Now, we type the part number in. Whether you type the part number in, whether you scanned it in with a barcode, the same result comes up. It's going to show you the part on the screen, as we've done in Level 1. Now all we really need to do is ask the customer how many he needs. In this case, he wants 4. I'm going to hit the Enter key, and the computer comes back like we've seen in Level 1. We do not have any to give this customer. 2 buttons pop up. Now in Level 1, we kind of went over pre-billing. So you know how pre-bill works. Obviously, if we really did have it in stock, we would want to hit pre-bill. But in fact, if we do not have it in stock and we need to order this at some point in time, we need to hit this F7 button. When we hit the F7 button, it now will come up and verify that that's the customer's telephone number. We'll hit the Enter key. It'll verify that he wants 4. We can still change this later on. And it'll ask him how he wants this shipped. Does he need it next day, second day, or stock? I'm hitting the Enter key. He just wants it stock. Notice what the screen looks like. Parts being sold is 0. He's not buying any parts at all. What he wants us to do is order $106 worth of parts. So let's assume that's all Tom wants. He just wants us to order a part, and he wants us to email us when the part comes in. We're going to cash out. When we cash out, there is no sale. We are taking a deposit. That's all we're doing. We're not selling a part to this customer. We're taking a deposit. When the part comes in and we hand him the part, that's when we're actually making the sale. I have my system set up as a 50% deposit. That's what 5344 is, half of the 106.89. We recommend, or most dealers have their deposit, default deposit. That's something that you filled out when you filled out the setup sheet. And in that setup sheet, one of the questions were, what is your normal deposit when you're doing special orders? 100% is probably the desirable amount. If a customer doesn't complain, it's much better cash flow to get as much money as you can up front. If he does complain, you can type in anything you want. But there again, you want the computer to do the most amount of work for you. So if your policy is to get 100% or as much as you can, by all means, set the default deposit to 100%. I'm going to change this to $100. It's asking me, okay, how are we going to be getting that $100? Would be cash, check, credit card, split payment. Let's just do cash. He gives me $100, and now a receipt gets printed out. What gets printed out on that receipt is a special order receipt that basically acknowledges he gave me $100. It acknowledges that I'm going to order that pot, and it will actually have the balance due. So we've got customer one that wants us to order a particular pot. Let's assume another customer comes walking in the door. And we're going to do a different scenario this time. Let's say I have this customer here, and I'm just going to type in BI, or let's just type in a telephone number, because that's usually what you're doing most of the time. And I typed in a telephone number. I'm coming up, and this is Mike Dicker. Now let's see, maybe Mike wants that exact same pot. So I'm going to type in that pot number. And Mike wants 1. So I'm hitting the enter key, and the same thing's going to happen. I don't have any of those pots. That's the exact same pot number we typed for Tom. And he says, well, okay, well, order it for me. So I'll do the same thing. I'm going to hit F7. I'll use the mouse so you can see what I'm doing. And it's verifying the number, verifying that he wants 1, and we'll just put it on the stock order. And we have the same thing. It's on my invoice here. It's a little S. We're not taking any pots home. But he also wants a couple other pots. And let's type in another pot number. And maybe he needs 4 of those. So what we have here is we have Mike who is buying $10.72 worth of pots, and he wants me to order another $25 worth of pots. Let's assume that we need to look some pots up on the fiche. And there again, this has been covered in level 1. If we're going to be clicking on some pots here, and I'm going to be putting them on my pots invoice. And this red obviously is a pot I don't have in stock. We've gone over that in level 1. Let's put that. That's a pot that we don't have. And let's grab, we'll grab a couple of these pots here that we do have. Okay, well, let's post this to my invoice. Now keep in mind, there are pots going on here. There is one pot that we don't have in inventory. When we minimize this, it's going to come back, pull the pots that we do have out of inventory, and then do the exact same thing. It's going to say, okay, is this particular pot right here? We do not have any. What do you want to do? I can pre-bill it. There again, we know what pre-bill does. I can F11, which means it's going to skip it, or we can special order it. And let's just special order it. So it pulled 3 pots out of inventory, and it put these 2 pots on that clipboard. So all we're really doing is hitting one key, and basically that key now puts that on the clipboard and says, okay, we need to order this pot right here, seal kit, and that's the vendor we need to get it from. We need to order this pot here at some point in time. And it's just throwing them on the clipboard. When I cash this out, now we have a different scenario. What this customer is doing, he's taking $19 worth of pots home that we're selling them. It's a sale. And he wants me to order another $25 worth of pots. 50% deposit is $12.73. Well, let's assume, okay, we're going to keep that exactly the same. So we're going to be collecting $32.19 from this customer. 19 is for the sale. The rest is the deposit. And let's just assume he gives us a check. Okay, now my receipt is printed. Now what has been printed is 2 separate receipts. There is a receipt for the sale, and it is separate. Those are pots that we're selling. It's a sale. He's going home with those pots. There's also another receipt saying he gave me $23 for a deposit, or $12 for a deposit. So it keeps it organized much better for the customer, where he can actually see, okay, I gave you $32. This is how much went for the sale. This is how much went for my deposit for the pot coming in. Let's take another scenario. Let's assume that you're using the F1 key, which basically says, okay, I'm not going to ask who the customer is. And let's assume we've got a customer here that does this. Another scenario is I want to order a lot of pots. I'm going to type in this pot right here. And let's assume the customer says, look it, I need a lot of these things. I need 600 of them. So I'm going to type in 600. I'm going to hit the Enter key. The computer comes back. As you well aware, as we went over in level 1, when you type in a quantity that's more than what you have in stock, the computer will show you, okay, I have 539. I do have 15 on order. There's the day that was ordered. What do you want to do? Now I need to tell the customer I can't give him what he really wants. I can give him some, but what does he want to do? Let's assume the customer says, okay, take 100 out of inventory. And can you order the rest? I'm not in a hurry for him. So we're going to take 100 out of inventory. And notice that same pot number is down in yellow. And I want to special order that pot. Now you don't see a button over here that says special order. Keep in mind, when we were over in level 1, we were told use this invoice options. Anytime you want to special order a pot, regardless if you have it in inventory or if you don't have it in inventory, you can order pots for a customer having them or not having them. If you hit F7, it's basically going to say, okay, that spark plug, you want to order it, whether you have it in stock or not. Now, because we use the F1 key, which designates we didn't tell it who the customer was, now it needs to know I'm not going to order pots for you unless I know who they're for. So it's asking me a name. And it wants to know a telephone number. It's going to say, well, I don't know who it is. I need to be able to contact this person if he doesn't show up to pick these pots up. And it wants to know how many does he want to order. Let's say he wants to order 500. And we'll just put in a stock order. That's fine. So now what we have here is 100 pots that he's taken home and 500 pots that he wants us to order. Let's just cash this out. Now, there is one other thing that we may want to mention. If we're using the event processing and we want to email this customer when his pots come in, we can't do that because this customer is not in our database and we don't have his email address. So let's suppose we're looking at this and saying, okay, I want to email you. I don't want to have to worry about calling you up. I don't want you calling me every other day trying to find out if they're here or not here. What I really want to do is maybe I want to put you in my database and get your email address so I don't have to worry about it. The computer will do it for me. And you can do that. Let's take an example right here where I went into the system. I didn't want to put the customer's name in, and now I changed my mind. I decided, okay, let me add him to my database. Let me get his email address so I don't have to worry about contacting him when these pots come in. Well, you can do that by, like we said in level 1, clicking on this button here, change sales type, or same thing, update sales parameters. Let's do that. It takes us right back to the beginning. Now, remember, when we initially went into this invoice, we elected not to put a customer's name on it. We elected not to add him to the database. Now we're changing our mind. And we're saying, you know what? I changed my mind. He bought a few pots. He wants me to order almost $1,500 worth of pots. Maybe I need to put him in my database. So now I'm going to click this right here. And it wants to know, okay, well, who is he? Let's check to see if he's there. I'm going to type in his telephone number that he gave me. It gives me a lookup. There again, this is things that we went over in level 1. It gives you my standard lookup. He's not in the system. We know that. So I'm hitting my escape key. Exit. As we learned in level 1, when you exit a lookup, it assumes that you want to add the customer into your database. If that's the case, I'm going to select yes. If not, no. I'm going to put my customer in. Obviously, that was John Doe. And we're going to put in his email address, which is and that's all I'm going to enter for this customer. That's fine. Now when I hit the escape key, go back to my invoice, everything is exactly the way as I left it. So what we did there, just a refresher, is that we went in initially and said I didn't want to put the customer in my database. We started selling him some pots. Next thing you know, he wants us to order $1,500 worth of pots. I now decided, let me put him in my database. Let me get his email address. I need to have his email address if, in fact, I'm going to contact him by email when his pots come in. So that's something you may want to keep in mind. Many customers disable F1 and F2 so that you basically put a name on every single invoice, and that's probably the better way of doing it, disabling those two buttons so you can't even use F1 or F2. So that every time a customer comes in, you basically have a name on the invoice. That's the preferred way of doing it. But if you are using those keys and you do change your mind and want to put a name on it, that's the procedure we'd use. Okay, now I have a couple of options here. I have obviously pots that he's going home with, which is $315, and he wants me to order some pots. Now I could also do something else. Maybe he says, look it, I would rather just wait until all of them come in. You can hit save. Now if you hit save, what that'll do, it'll take those 100 pots out of inventory, and it'll put those other 500 pots on that clipboard to remind somebody to order it when it's time to order. So let's just cash it out right now. And let's just say I'm going to change this to $1,000. And we're just going to do a cash. And there again, we're collecting a total of $1,315. So let's just say we've got $1,400 and we're going to be giving the customer back $84. Obviously, we had two receipts print out. The sale and the special order. Okay, let's do another scenario. Let's suppose a mechanic comes up and says, look, I need pots for a particular job. So we're going to select this button here, Add Pots to Service. Now when you select Add Pots to Service, it wants a work order number. If the mechanic says, well, I don't know, I forgot the work order number, then this is the same as all our defaults, like we've gone over before. If you're not sure what to do, just hit the Enter key, and this is showing me all my open work orders. Now green means that it's done. The customer hasn't picked it up yet. Let's suppose I want to add some pots to this particular job right here. And we've got two jobs here, and we want to add pots to the tune-up. Now these are some pots that we've pulled already and put on the tune-up. Let's assume that we made a mistake and we gave the mechanic the wrong pots and he's bringing some of them back. So we're going to just do this here. We're going to click over here. We're going to say, gee, I need to delete something off this invoice. And we're going to get rid of the spark plug. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of this. And I'm done deleting those things. Those are now put back in inventory. And maybe I want to go in and type in some new pots, so I'm going to say, okay, he needs 4 of those, and we're adding some pots. Now let's use the exact same pot that 2 other customers also needed. And I'm going to say for this service work order, we need, let's say we need 10 of them. Well, there again, the computer comes back and says, okay, I don't have any. What do you want to do? Keep in mind, all I'm doing, you have to type in the number or you have to scan the number in to find out what it's going to cost to look and see what the pot is. So all you're doing here is one little extra step. When the customer says, yeah, order it for me, or the mechanic says, well, you got to order it, we need it for the job, you're hitting one key, this right here. Now that's basically saying, okay, we need to order 10 of those for work order 717. And now it's writing it on that clipboard. Now, this is a work order. On a work order, we're not cashing it out. That's cashed out in the in the service package. So we're just going to save this. There again, all we did is write it on the clipboard. Now that service work order knows that this is now on the clipboard, waiting to get ordered for that service work order. Okay, let's do another service work order. And we'll use the exact same pot. I'm going to hit the Enter key, and let's just say we're going to add something to this work order here. Same thing. We'll just use the tune-up, and I'm just going to type in that exact same pot. So we've got the same pot that's going to a lot of different places. It's going to 2 different work orders. it's going to 3 or 4 different customers. And let's just say this work order, we need one. Same thing's going to happen. I don't have it. I want to order it. One extra key. Takes me about a half a second. That's it. Maybe in this case, I also want to order some parts that I do have in stock. Let me take a look at this part right here, which is that spark plug. And you know what? I don't want to pull any out of inventory. I just want to check and see how many I have. Now there again, like we went over in level 1, there is an option that you can turn on that shows you that automatically. Most people don't like to have that on because it does have a tendency to lose sales. You have a tendency to tell customers how much you have all the time before you find out how much they want. So most people don't prefer not to do that. But if I want to be able to see, okay, what do I have in stock? I can just hit the escape key. It does tell me that, okay, I have 439 in stock. That's a popular pot. That's a pot we sell all the time. I don't want to take those out of inventory, so I'm going to special order them for this. Even though I have them in inventory, I want to special order them, and maybe I want to order 20 of those. And if you need to change the quantity or change anything, obviously you can do so by clicking on the pot, just like we did in level 1. And change the quantity if you wish. Hit the save. Now that's also written on a clipboard. Okay, so we've gone in and we've ordered a bunch of pots. Well, we haven't ordered anything, but we've put them all on this clipboard. That's all we're doing. And keep in mind, all we've done is taken 1 second. Now let's suppose we also go in and we notice looking for a pot that we're kind of low on something. And we want to tell the computer, you know, I need to order that pot for us. Not for a customer, but I need to make sure I write it on that clipboard because I want to remind whoever's doing the ordering that we need to order some of these. We're getting kind of low. Well, there's a button over here also that we haven't gone over yet, which just says Order Inventory Pot. And what's that button? What that button is for, it's actually similar to doing a special order for you. I just want to tell the computer whenever we do an order, look at this clipboard, and this pot's now going to be written on that clipboard. Don't forget to order this pot. It's for us, not for a particular customer. So let's go in and do that. Let's go in and order pot. And it looks pretty much like the stock status screen, which it is, except there's a couple extra buttons. You can type in a pot, like I'll type in a pot here. It tells me that I have 439 in stock. Maybe I want to order some more. I'm saying, all right, we have 439, but this is a popular pot. Let me order. I've ordered a bunch of them for customers, but I want to order some for me. You know, they're not for anybody. They're for the dealership. Well, I'm just going to hit Special Order Pot in-house right here. How many do I want to order? I don't know. Let's order 300. Okay, you know, hurry for them. Next day stock. Nope. Okay, so I can type in any pot I want. I can actually just do a listing. Maybe I just want to do a lookup here and thumb through my inventory, and I'm looking for things that I'm low on. I mean, you know, here's a pot here. You know, maybe I'm getting low on, you know, these are my quantities here. Here's a bushing. Maybe I'm getting low on that bushing. So I can say, I ran out of that. You know what? Let me check this out. Now, normally when you look at a pot, you may say, well, before I order some, let me just see if I'm selling these things. So you may want to hit this here, pot statistics. Obviously, this probably wouldn't be a good one to order. It would tell me the last date I sold it. It would tell me the last date I ordered it, and obviously would give me my sales of what's going on. Realistically, if I looked at this, this is not a pot I would want to order, but let's order it anyway. So I'm just going to hit this right here, Special Order Pot, and we're going to order 5 of those. So all we're doing is putting these pots on a clipboard and saying, okay, whenever anybody does the order, don't forget to order this pot. This is for me. Now, there's also a feature that we can look at here is just say, well, what did I put on that clipboard so far? I mean, I've been writing things on that clipboard. What's on that clipboard just for me? There's this button right here is when you want to order a pot. Obviously, whatever you have here, we'll put that on the clipboard and ask you how much you want to order. This right here will show you what's on that clipboard just for you. When I say you, the dealership. And it'll organize it by the dates that you put it in. So let's take a look at this and so you can understand the screen. This is telling me that it's for in-house. It's for us. This is telling me that on the 28th, and this is going to be organized by the date that you put it in. So if we added 25 pots today, all 25 pots would be listed. There'd be a gray line giving me the date 02/28/08. And here's the pots I put on, and I can see that they haven't been ordered yet. If we order any of these parts, the date we ordered it would be here, the vendor we ordered it from would be here, and the PO number that we used would be here. This is what it's going to cost me to order those parts. Notice that we also put some parts on this clipboard on 07-2607. They still haven't been ordered yet. So, and they're all different vendors. Obviously, we got this vendor. There's the vendor over here. So here's my vendor. Here's the part number. Here's the description. Here's what we need to order. Here's what's come in. Obviously, we haven't even ordered them yet. And this is the total of what this thing's going to cost me if I order every part that's here. Now you can print these things out anytime you want. That's probably not necessary. So anytime you want to know, okay, what's on the clipboard for me, that's where you'd want to do it. Anytime you just want to go in the course of the day, if you just happen to notice, hey, we're getting low on something, I just went back in my inventory, we just ran out of some tires, there again, and you can do things the same way. If I want to, I can do a lookup, and maybe I'm looking for a tire. I can click here and say, well, I notice we're low on tires. Is the ones we're low on right here. Let me click on that. And now I just want to do a, I'm going to hit F2. And I want to tell the computer to order 5 of them. If I wanted to do, supposedly, I don't know a pot number, and I'm looking for maybe a prop. There again, maybe I want to order some more of these props right here. So we'll just click that, hit F2. And maybe I want to order 5 of those. And all I'm doing is throwing things on that clipboard to say, okay, when it's time to order, we need to order these parts from various different vendors. Okay, that was here, order inventory part. Obviously, it looks a lot like stock status. Stock status, you don't have the ability to order. Here you do. Okay, in the meantime, there's one other thing that's going on. When you special order parts for customers, they tend to want to know, call you up and say, what's going on with my order? Where is it? What's happening? What's going on? Well, there's a button here that basically says Special Order Inquiry. Well, that's exactly what that's for. Now, what's nice about using the computer system for doing this, it is going to save you hours and hours of time, and is going to make it less confusing for your employees. So anybody now can answer a question for a customer. You can hire a person today that doesn't know anything about anything, and all you got to tell them is if somebody calls and they're asking about parts that they ordered, all you really need to do is click on this one button, Special Order Inquiry. That's exactly what it sounds. Somebody's inquiring about their parts that they ordered. You click here. It wants to know who the customer is. It's a generic lookup. We can look up the first name, the last name, the telephone number, even the pot number that they ordered. So you can type in pretty much anything you want. Now, the phone number obviously is the quickest way to look something up, because if you type in a phone number, it will not give you a lookup. It will go right to the customer's information. It knows who you're talking about. It just goes right to that customer's information. If you type in a name, it's always going to give you a lookup, because you can have more than one person with the same name. So keep that in mind. But you know what? We had this guy, Tom. He ordered some pots. Let's go in and type in Tom. And he'll come up. I only have one Tom. I might have had 4 or 5. You'd pick, okay, you're Tom Moore. And what this is telling me is that it's the exact same screen. The gray line here is each invoice. Not a date, but an invoice. So this customer, Tom, came in. He came in on, and I'll put the line here, on the 28th. He wants me to order this pot right here. Here's the pot number. He wants me to order 4 of them. We haven't sent the order in yet. That's not something you probably want to tell the customer. We do know that he gave me a $100 deposit, and when he does come to pick it up, he's going to owe me $6.87. So, anytime a customer calls, you can just type in name, telephone number. For example, let's do this. Customer calls, or he's standing in front of me. Okay, and I'm going to do Special Order Inquiry. Hit the wrong button there. Now let's just do this here. I'm going to type in a telephone number. Now with a telephone number, it avoids a lookup, because obviously we're only going to have one customer with that number. Now it goes right to this customer. There is no lookup. This is Mike Dicker. Now Mike Dicker is ordered a bunch of times. That's the beauty of the system, is that you just tell the computer who the customer is. It's telling you everything that he's waiting for, regardless of different invoices, different times, different dates. Let's take a look at Mike. If we go over here, there's the one dot gray. What that means, that's the invoice number. Where my yellow line is, that's the invoice number. That's the first time he came in and ordered some pots. He wanted me to order 3 pots. If we look, there's the date that he came in. This is the date that we actually sent the order in, the very next day. We haven't received anything. This is the vendor that we ordered it from, and this is the PO number. So the computer pretty much lets you know everything that's going on. I can see, yes, they've been ordered. Yes, I can see the date that they've been ordered. If I need to call up and get some information to find out what's going on, I can call the vendor up. I know the vendor. I know the PO number. I know the date it was ordered. So everything I need to know is right here. Also, if there was a problem with this, maybe we did find out that it's back ordered and it won't be in until the end of the month. There's a note section here, and we'll be going over that on a later session, where when you're posting orders and they tell you, okay, this is back ordered, won't be in for 3 weeks, you can put a little note on that, and that note now will show up on this screen. So you'll be able to tell the customer, now that's back ordered, looks like it won't be in until the end of the month. Now, if we look over here, here's another time the customer came in. He came in back again on 2/26. There's the invoice. We ordered them on the 26th. It looks like 3 of them came in on the 27th. We're still waiting for 2 more. The balance due on that, he paid 100% up front. The balance due on that is 0. Also, he came back again. We haven't sent that order in yet. This is the one, this was done on 2/29. Now, this is the one that we did today. I did with you on the phone. This is Mike Dicker. Today, on the 28th, there's the seal kit. That's from one vendor. There's another pot that he wants us to order from another vendor. Remember, he paid 50% deposit, so he gave me $12.73. He's going to owe me $12.73 when the balance is due. That's the one that we did a few minutes ago. Now, notice the dark blue line. What does it say? It says received orders. What does that mean? Let's go down here. These are pots that did come in. So Mike's obviously a real good customer. He's been here 4 different times and ordered pots. And if he walked in the door and said, okay, I'm here, I happen to be driving by, did anything come in that I'm waiting for? Obviously, if we look here, we see this thing that says received orders. We can look at this and say, oh, okay, you got your brackets. If he says, okay, well, let me take the brackets home now. Okay, if he wants to take the brackets home now, if you look up here, there's a couple of buttons. One button goes to your maintenance here. This might be, maybe he wants to tell you he changed his telephone number or changed his address or something like that. This right here would look up the detail. Maybe he's saying, well, I thought I bought something earlier, and you can look up any detail or any invoice if he asks you any questions. But there's another button that says invoice. What invoice means is invoice me for whatever came in. Now, the only pot that came in is the bracket. So if he says, okay, well, I want to take those home, okay, you're going to hit invoice. It actually comes over and brings up a Mike Dicker, and it has the bracket, and we have $46.68. Notice what the balance due is. The balance due is 0. That's because he paid 100% up front. So the system is keeping track of everything for you. Basically, when a pot comes in, it's going to tell you the balance due. It's going to put it right on the invoice. It's going to do everything pretty much automatically. Okay, let's say all he wants to do is take this home. We're just going to cash it out. Now, if he wanted to buy more pots, we in fact could, but we're not going to do that. Now, this is an important question. End of what? What's happening here is when pots are being received, and if a customer's, it actually doesn't put them in your inventory. It puts them in what we call a work in progress. What that means is they're pots waiting to get picked up for customers. You know, they're here, you received them, and the customer hasn't picked them up. It's a work in progress. We're allocating, we're holding these pots for this customer. It's a special order pot that came in. He's supposed to be picking it up, or maybe we're going to be shipping it out. So if in fact we're shipping it out, or if in fact he's picking it up, it's over. We're ending this work in progress. He's taking these things home. This is when the sale gets rung up. And now there is no money here. It's not going to ask me for money because we're not collecting any money. We collected 100% up when we took the deposit. So there is no money. The receipt prints out. He's going home with the pots, and now this gets recorded as a sale in your daily sales journal. Okay, so people are calling up, people are inquiring, and this is where you would do that. People are taking pots home. Let's go back to, we've written a lot of pots on this clipboard. And we've got a bunch of pots on the clipboard, and now all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I want to actually look at that clipboard and say, okay, I need to figure out what I need to order. Okay, we're going to be doing that. We're going to be getting out of our sales section. That's where we'd be at the point of sale. And now we're in the section where usually the pots manager or somebody's going to say, okay, I need to do my orders. Let's go into orders. Now, the orders menu is broken up into 3 categories. One category right here, create special orders, special order recap, maintain special orders, special order inquiry, which is the exact same thing that we were doing earlier, just somebody inquiring about what's going on. This has to do with processing special orders. It's pretty obvious. This has to do with posting the orders when they're received. Okay, we're going to tell the computer we're ordering it. Now the box shows up and we want to tell the computer the order's here. This right here we're not going to be going over today, but this is creating computer suggested orders. And that's going to be in level 3. And creating computer suggested orders is basically having the computer go through your inventory and telling you what it thinks you should be ordering, and giving you what we call a suggested order, and then you making the decision to say, well, do I really want to order it? Do I not want to order it? And so on. And there again, that'll be in a future lesson. There are also lots of reports, like open purchase orders, suggested orders, ones that the computer put together, all of them, ones that you told it to do, special order reports, special order recap, outstanding deposits, special order exceptions. I just want to see stuff for service. I want to see everything. Special orders completed. In other words, there are pots that are completed. They haven't picked them up yet. I want to see how old they are. Maybe I want to notify these customers and say, look, if you don't come pick up these pots, we're putting them in inventory. You know, back orders. Received, you can actually print labels. You can print your own barcode labels. You can print reports by bin location to help you put the pots away. You can do your email log to say, okay, you know, what customers didn't get contacted by email. You know, that maybe I need to call them, know their pots are here. So there's lots of reports. Right now we're just going over the basics. What we've done, and I'm just going to recap what we've done. We've actually had a couple of work orders that we said we needed some pots for, and we wrote them on that clipboard. We had, I believe, 3 customers that needed some pots, and we wrote that on those clipboards. Now we want to look at the clipboard. We want to say, okay, show me what I need to order. Well, I'm going to show you the fastest and most streamlined way of doing that. This button right here, Special Order Recap. Let's hit that. This is basically looking at that clipboard, organizing the pots by vendor, and basically telling me, okay, here's what's on that clipboard. Here's what you need to do. Open Special Order Recap Report. It's saying that Yamaha, there are 7 line items that we need to order for Yamaha. 20 of them are for service. In other words, there are 20 that are for service work orders. So that's nice to know, because maybe I want to definitely make sure I order those, because that's holding up some job. There are also 808 that are for customers. Those are those spark plugs, the 500 and so forth. If we look at this vendor here, there are 11 pots that are for service. There are 5 of them that are for customers. Here's what it's going to cost me if I order all these pots. So let's look at what the screen says. Screen says left click to list. Maybe I want to see who they're for. Right click, I want to order them. So let's take a look. Let's look at the, we'll look at the Yamaha stuff first. So I am going to left click on the mouse. And you can, there again, this is our standard screen for printing. You can print it, or you can just take a look at it on the screen. Usually you just may want to look at it on the screen. And this is going to tell me who all these pots are for. Now notice I have some that are for in-house. These are something that we use to say, look, don't forget to order these. They're for us. They're not for any particular customer. Obviously, we got Mike Dicker. He wants us to order one of those. That's the date that we told the computer we need to order it. We've got John Doe. He wants us to order it on the 28th. We got this pot here that we put this in on the 26th, and we still haven't ordered it yet. So let's suppose we take a look at this, and there's a work order here, 588. They need those pots too from this vendor. Let's assume that we look at this here and say, okay, let's order it. It's $1,400. I want to order all these pots. So I don't need to print this out. So I want to order those. Now, there again, if we read what the screen says, right-click to order. Okay, let's right-click. Okay, we're just going over a couple of options here. First questions it's saying, and there again, if you're not sure what to do, just let the computer make the decision for you. For example, first question is, create a separate purchase order for the special order pots that we're going to order right here. Or do you want to merge them in with computer suggested orders? Well, we're not going to be doing computer suggested orders, and I recommend you wait a little while until you get some sales history and start using the system before you even get involved in computer suggested orders. But at some point in time, you're probably going to want to generate an order with the computer. Maybe the computer says you should order 50 of these, and then you want to merge them all together, send them in as one big order. In this case, we're going to create just a separate PO for all the pots that are on that clipboard. And at the very end, it's going to say, well, is there anything else you want to add? We may want to add some more. The next question, and there again, you're just going to take the defaults here, is I want to go through that clipboard. That's what it's saying. Do you want me to read the clipboard and read all the pots on the clipboard and order them for this particular vendor? Yes, I do. If I click on this, it won't look at that clipboard. It's just let me type in whatever I want to type and create an order. Now the next thing is, what's the sequence you want to do this in? Now by and large, there's usually two ways that you want to normally do it. You want to process it by vendor. You could pick out one particular salesperson, one particular phone number, one particular customer. By and large, when you're ordering pots, it's usually by vendor. Now there's a vendor here, and there's a process special orders by vendor fast. I recommend using the fast method. Now what the difference between the two is, if we look there were, I don't know, about 10 different customers or people that wanted those pots. Some of them are in-house, some of them for customers. If you do it by vendor, it'll stop for each one and ask you a question. It'll say, do you want to order it? Yes or no? Do you want to skip it? Yes or no? Do you want to delete it and just forget about it? Yes or no? So you have an option, but it's going to stop for each and every customer on the clipboard. So it's going to go through all Yamaha, stop for each line item on that clipboard, and make me ask, answer a question. Yes, no, delete. Yes, no, delete. Yes, no, or skip. I'll do it tomorrow. You would want to do that if you looked at that clipboard and you said, I don't want to order everything on it. I want to order all my Yamaha pots, but maybe just for one customer. Well, then maybe that's the way you'd want to do it. But by and large, if you looked at that and you said, hey, I need those pots, I want to order them all, then you don't really want to stop and have the computer ask you a question for each one. So I'm going to use the fast one, which means I'm not going to stop. And I'm just going to say I want everything that's a stock order. I could just pick out next day stuff. And the computer will automatically assign a PO number. And there again, you can type in your own, or most people just let the computer assign its own number. It's just a sequential number. The next time you order from that vendor, it'll be one higher than that. It went in here, and I have one where the pack size isn't quite right. And I did that intentionally. If you do have a pack size error, you can actually take care of it. And it's saying, okay, the pack size is 5 here, so you can fix it, which it told that I needed to order 5 at a time. Okay. We've gone in there and it put all our pots together in one order, and it's saying there's a total of 1,417 pots. Now it's coming up and saying, okay, I ordered all those pots. Are there any other pots that you want to order for this particular vendor? Now, if you know pot numbers, you can type them in. I'll just type in BR90S, and when I type in a pot and hit the enter key, it comes up and it'll show me my monthly sales. This is my 13th recap. It'll tell me the last date I sold this pot, the last date I ordered it. I can click here and see every customer that's buying it. It'll show me the newest at the top, obviously. It tells me I have 366 in stock. Let's say I want to order some of these. Now, typically, I probably wouldn't normally want to do this, but I'm going to order 100. and now it's up to $1,500. Now let's suppose I say, okay, but where's the list of everything I ordered? I mean, yeah, I can go in and type in 10, 15, 20 more pots here and keep building this order, and my total is going to keep going up and up and up. But let's suppose I want to say, well, wait a minute, I want to see what's on that list. I've got this order that I'm putting together. Show me all the pots. I want to double check it. Right here, list and update order. These are all the pots we're going to be ordering, a total of $1,500. Now notice what it did is that, it's combining all these pots. These spark plugs, 821, they're for various different people. We don't really need to be concerned. All we really need to be concerned about is that we need to order 821. Some are going to be for us for in-house, some are going to be for service, some are going to be for customers. We don't really need to care about that. We just need to order 821. If I look at one of these and maybe I want to change it, maybe I'm looking at this right here and I'm saying, boy, that's an expensive pot right there. Let me check it out. If you click on it, there again, it will bring the pot up. It'll tell you how many you have in stock. I have 23 in stock. I'm ordering 5. Maybe I want to change it. I can lower it. I can increase it. Maybe I'm going to say, you know what? I think I'm only going to order 2 of those. Now, when you go in and change the quantity, it'll go up and say, okay, this is what you want to do. There's the vendor you're going to order. It's going to cost you $78. When you hit the enter key, it doesn't take you back to that other screen. It actually goes to the very next pot in sequence. So it keeps you here and it thumbs through each pot so you can kind of evaluate each one. For example, maybe you want to double check each one of them a little bit more scrutinized, because this will also give you your alternate suppliers and your different pricing. And I'll be showing you that in a little bit. So I can make a decision to say, well, yeah, maybe I want to order 10 of these. I'm going to increase that to 10. And and now it goes to my next vendor. Now this vendor, I can get it from some other suppliers. Maybe I'm going to order, change that to 10 here. And when I'm done here, I can hit the escape key. It goes back to that list. And now, obviously, we went down a little bit because we changed that from 5 to 2. We changed some of the quantities over here. If I want to add some more to this list, you click Add. Obviously, you can type in a pot number. You can do a pot lookup. And there again, maybe I want to order some of these batteries. When I hit the Enter key, it tells me I have 23. Is my sales. I can click here and see who's buying them. If I want to add that to that order, I'm just going to type in 2. Now I would type in another number, and another number, and another number. Whether you want to do a pot lookup, you also can hit maintenance and get in and see any other options. Hey, are there any notes on this pot? Things like that. I'm hitting the escape key whenever I'm going back to this list. So this is my final list. I have an order here, $2,900. Okay, I want to tell the computer I'm going to order these pots. So what I've done is I went through that clipboard. I said order all the pots for Yamaha on that clipboard. I went in and added some pots myself. I went in and changed some quantities. And now I want to tell the computer that, okay, I'm going to order these pots. The PO number is Tim123, and I'm going to send this order in. So let's hit the escape key. We're done. And it says, you can print it out here if you want, which I'm not going to do that right now. And it says, do you want to post this order to inventory now? The default is no. There again, if you're not sure what to do, take the default. The computer usually is telling you what you should do. The default here is no. The reason it's no is because we're just telling the computer we're going to order this. We haven't even sent the order in yet. So if the order was received and it was a box here already, and you just put it in, then you'd say yes. Normally you would just say no because we haven't sent the order in yet. Obviously, when you say yes, it's going to now want to post that to my inventory, which we don't want to do. Okay. Now it's basically saying here's what we ordered. If we want, we can print it out here. Let's just see what it looks like. Now, you're going to order this one of 3 ways. You're either going to print it out, and you'd want to put this on a piece of paper, and you may want to then fax that to your vendor. You may want to call it in, or you may want to send it in electronically. So somewhere along the way, you've got to now physically do the order. So the computer put it all together. It says, here's what you need to order. It totals everything up. You don't need to worry about who it's for. This is what you need to order. This is what it's going to cost you for that order, $14.35. Now, there's a blank line here. Normally, when we set your vendors up, like for example, Yamaha might be, normally when you order it's electronically. So there'd be a button here that says send order electronically, and it would automatically transmit that right to Yamaha. Maybe normally when you do this particular vendor, you email it, and it would have an email thing there. So that's usually on the setup. If it's not set up, and your system probably isn't, if you just got it, it's just you're gonna be looking at exactly what I'm looking at. So let's hit exit here. And now it goes back to that clipboard. But notice Yamaha is not there anymore. What it's doing, though, it's scanning the clipboard and saying, okay, the only thing, you obviously ordered all your Yamaha pots, so this is what's left. Now, let's just do this here. Let's go in and I'll order this one here. Let's do the same thing. This is those other ones that we did with that seal kit. I'm going to take a look and see who the customers that are waiting for it. And these are the customers. Obviously, we have Tom, we have Mike, we have 2 work orders. And 4 there, 1 there, 10 there, 1 there. Okay, so, yep, I want to order all those pots. So let's order them. I'm going to actually right-click. And you know what? I already know what to do here. Let's just go in and hit OK, do it. I'll use that PO number right there that the computer assigned for me. And now it went in and put all those pots on the order. I got $266 worth of pots. Now, maybe I want to look at them before I add anything. It's all just one pot. You got to remember, there was a bunch of customers that all wanted that one pot. So that's all it is. We don't need to be concerned about who they're for. But you know what? Let me take a look. I'm going to click on that and say, you know what? I'm going to change that to 20. Yep, I'm going to change that to 20. And, maybe I want to add some new pots to it. And there again, I don't know any pot numbers here, so I'll just do a lookup. I'll just we'll take this washer right here. And I'm going to take the washer and let's order 30 of those. And there again, I could type in as many numbers as I want and go on and on and on. When I'm done, I'm going to hit the escape key and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, I want to send this order in, $630, done. You can print it out here, just a little bit different format. This basically just has the pot number, has exactly what you're going to be ordering. Has what it should be costing you and what the extended cost is. So, they're just a different formatted report. And now those are ordered. We go back to this clipboard. There again, that's gone. So you're just going to clean your clipboard out. You may look at this right here, and let's look at this one, and you may look at that and say, that's just for us. I don't really need to order that today. My pots guy said, yeah, you need to order 5 of those, but, I'll do that tomorrow. I don't really need to do that today. I may look at this and say, yeah, that's just for in-house. Yeah, I don't really need to order that right today. So now I'm done. Now what I've done here is I just told the computer that the pot is ordered. So now the computer knows it's an order waiting to be received. Now keep in mind that I didn't type in any pot numbers. I just looked at that clipboard and said, okay, I'm ordering it. Now how you sent that order in? 1 of 3 ways. You either emailed it, and you do that right here. You might have just printed it out and said, look, I'm going to pick up the phone and just call. Or you may send it electronically. Now, I'm just going to quickly hit send electronically. Now, if you do that on your system and you just receive the software, this may be blank because when we send the software out, we don't know who you communicate with and who you don't. We have thousands of customers. They all work differently. They all ask different questions. I will actually do Yamaha here. And this is just some of the ones that we do. We do pretty much anybody that has electronic communications. But if I wanted to send an order in, and if I had 100 pots on an order, obviously this is a very big time saver. I'd click Yamaha. I'd say I want to create and send my order electronically to Yamaha. Okay. And it will show me all the orders that I haven't sent yet. And I'm going to say, yes, this is the one I just did. I definitely want to send that. Now this screen is going to be different by manufacturer. This is what Yamaha wants to know before you send it. If you're not sure how to answer anything, there again, just hit the enter key, let the computer make the decisions. Most people want to allow back orders. Most people want to have it from an alternate warehouse. Most people want those options set. So now it comes back here, and maybe I'm going to send all my Yamaha orders that are outstanding. So that's it. Now I'm going to say, okay, I'm hitting the escape key, and it says, do you want to send that order right now? Yes, I do. Now, Yamaha happens to work by a website, so it is going to automatically call Yamaha's website, and it takes a second here. And now, if I have my Yamaha vendor set up, it would actually put my dealer number in there automatically. There's also an option that Yamaha has, which will save your ID and password, so that, or if you don't have it saved, you'd have to key it in. Obviously, we don't want to do that. But what it would do, if I had 100 parts on an order, it would now transmit it to Yamaha or whichever vendor you choose, just as if you manually typed them in. After the thing is transmitted, you can then still go back in, just like you could if you manually typed them in, and look and see what the back order status is, or look and see and maybe change things if you want. But basically, now you don't have to type in those 100 parts again. So that's one way to do it. And there again, this is something that our support staff will set up for you when you get the system. Typically, nothing is set up because, like I said, there's so many variations. We need to know who you communicate with, and we need to tell the software which ones in sometimes certain areas of the country or countries are a little bit different and have to be critiqued. Okay, so we send the order into the manufacturer via electronic email, via somebody picked up the phone and called it, we emailed it, whatever. Now, that's all done here. Now, in the meantime, customers are calling up and saying, what's going on? What's going on? Where's my part? There again, this special order inquiry is the same button that's in the part sales program. If I click it here, and if I type in, say, Tom, there's that guy Tom, well, now I can see that, yes, we did order that part. It was ordered on the 28th. And you know what? There's the vendor we ordered it from, and there's the PO number. That's the one we just did a second ago. If I have this guy, Mike, there again, there's this part right here that, if we look here, down, these are the two that we just did. Yep, we ordered them from Yamaha, 228. There's the PO. We just ordered this from this other supplier, and that was also 228. They haven't come in yet. So, meantime, anytime somebody calls, you know the exact status of what's going on. Yes, its order should be in any day. Now, all of a sudden, a box shows up. Okay. Obviously, that's post and receive orders. Okay. Now, there's two buttons here. One is computer order. One is update manual. Very simple what the difference is. If you ordered it and you told the computer you ordered it, and that's what we did, we went in and it took us like a half a second. Keep in mind, it takes about 1 second to click on a button and say, order all those parts for me. That's it. Order them. So it took literally a few seconds. Now all of a sudden the computer knows that I ordered them. So it's a computer order. It knows that that's an order. If I want, I can say, look, I need to see an open purchase order. And I want to see it by vendor. If I know the order number, I can just list that one particular order. But if I look at this right here and I say, okay, let's look at Yamaha, for example, and I don't need to list the customers or I don't really care who they're for right now. That's not important. And this is going to list every outstanding order. Well, here's the one we just did. 228. Here's the parts we ordered. Obviously, they haven't come in yet. Now, all of a sudden, the box shows up at the door. Okay. We're going to click on this, computer order. Okay. It wants to know the vendor, and then you tab over and key in the order number. Or, if you want to just type in the vendor, we'll just do Yamaha first. I'm going to say, okay, there's my vendor. Here's all my open Yamaha orders. Now, what keeps them open is that there's still something outstanding. In other words, there's something back ordered. There's something that we haven't received. Once they're totally received, you won't see them on this list. So once an order comes in and every part on that order shows up, or maybe it gets canceled, but then it gets taken off this list. Let's say this order just showed up. Here's the parts that are on that order. Now, I'm going to keep it simple. There are a lot of neat functions in here, but I'm just going to keep it simple so you can understand the flow of things. What this is the packing slip. It should be in the same order as the packing slip. It's telling me that these are the parts I ordered, what came in and what didn't. Now, a couple different ways you can use this. For example, if I'm looking at this packing slip and I'm saying, well, all right, that's what we paid for it. Here's what's going on here. If I hit the Enter key or click on the mouse, it turns that dark blue It changes that status to a Y. What that means is N means nothing happened, it didn't come in yet. Y means it did. If I click on this status, here's my different options. Y means, hey, it's okay. It's come in, put it in my inventory. N means it hasn't come in yet. C means it canceled. The manufacturer doesn't sell that pot anymore. It discontinued. So I want to tell the system that don't expect this pot in. It's canceled. Partial means, and I'll show you that, where not all of them came in. They're shipping some from an alternate warehouse. B means it's back ordered. For example, suppose these 10 pots, I only got 5. Well, I'm just going to type in 5. When I typed in 5, notice what it did. It changed the quantity to 5, made that a P, which is a partial. Now what's going to happen when I post this to my inventory, it is going to put the 5 in inventory that came in, which is right here. It's then going to take the other 5 that didn't come in and automatically back order them. So basically, if this pot here came in, I can just say that's fine, maybe this here is not fine. If I make a mistake and say, oh, wait a minute, that didn't really come in yet, then I can just click and it's going to take it off. It didn't come in. It did, it didn't, it didn't. So obviously, if it's a Y, it means it did. If I need to change a description, you can go in and modify the description. You can obviously modify the cost. Suppose they increase this pot. Suppose I say, gee, it went up to $6. Now, when I hit the Enter key, it's going to turn red. The reason it's red is it wants you to understand that, you got a problem here. If you're telling me the cost went up $6, you don't want to be selling it for $2.95, so maybe you want to sell it for $12. So whenever you see red, that means one of two things. It means that something isn't quite right. Your cost is higher than your retail, or maybe you forgot to put one in, period. If there's any notes that you want to put in here, like maybe this one here where I know there are more that are going to be coming in later. Maybe I can say, look at, on 120, well, not 1. It would be, let's just say 3 slash, man, we'll just do 08. They should be in. There again, you've got about 60 characters there. You can pretty much type whatever you want that's meaningful. Now, that's the little message that's going to pop up when somebody does a inquiry on that particular pot, and they're waiting for it. That note is going to pop up to say, okay, they should be in on 3-4. And there again, so now I'm done everything. There's a lot more functions in here, but we're not going to be really getting too sophisticated right now. Right now, what I'm telling the computer is this pot didn't come in, the battery. These pots did. This one, a partial, came in. This one, I changed the price. Now, I'm going to hit the escape key. Escape and update. That's what I want to do. Okay, do you want to post this to your inventory? Well, yes, I do. Now, if I say no, it's going to take all the changes that I did and save them. But no, I want to post this to my inventory. I want the computer to take these pots and put them into my inventory. But what it does before that, and this is important to understand what's going to happen, whenever you're posting an order into the system, it will always look at your clipboard first. Let's go back to that clipboard that we're writing pots down. So it is going to go through this packing slip. It is going to try to find any of these pots on that clipboard. And if it sees that they're for a customer, it's going to come back and tell me, hey, these pots aren't going to inventory. They need to go to a customer, or they need to go to a service work order. So let's do that. I'm going to say yes. And what happens is the computer will automatically come up with this screen here, which basically says, I got a report that you need to look at. Now, if you didn't see this screen, it means that I went to the clipboard and there are no pots on that clipboard in this order that anybody's waiting for. So I don't need to tell you about anything. Everything in this order is going to inventory. That's not the case. It's telling me that there are pots here that I'm not going to put in inventory. When I say I, the computer. And it's basically saying that these pots right here, I'm not putting them in inventory. Here's what I'm doing. I'm giving one of these to Mike Dicker. It's going right into Mike's invoice. Now, he ended up getting one, and obviously he's waiting for some more. John Doe. John Doe is getting 500 of those. They're sitting in his invoice. RO 588, they're sitting in that service work order, just waiting to get billed out. Now, what also happened is these two guys got emails. So they received emails. The minute we clicked on that button, an email was sent to both Mike and John. telling them that, okay, those pots are in, and it would have sent this little note to Mike to let him know that, these other pots are going to be in a couple days. Um, so now, it's very important here is that these pots did not go into inventory. The computer automatically put them into the invoice, Mike's invoice, Joe's invoice, and the work orders. That's where they're sitting in the computer system. They're not in your inventory. They're not sitting in your on-hand quantity. Normally, you'd obviously print this out if you got a bunch of them, obviously. So I'm not going to print it out. Now, the next thing it's saying, and this is something that many dealers do, if you're doing a lot of special orders for customers, which a lot of our dealers do nowadays, when orders come in relatively quick, you tend to stock less, and you tend to be special ordering pots for customers more frequently, and so you got to manage that properly, or it can be a nightmare. Well, obviously the computer did all the work for you. It basically said, okay, I went through there, I told you where the pots go, I put them in the invoice, I let the customer know they came in, I did all the work for you, but you have to do something here. You have to physically take that pot out of the box, and you got to put it somewhere. You don't want to put it in inventory. And you probably want to put a name on that pot. So that's what it's asking here. Do you want me to print a special order label? I'm going to say yes. And we typically use Avery 5160 labels, which are very inexpensive. You can buy anywhere. And normally you'd probably want to do, it'll save the last one you pick, but I want to do just one for each pot. Now this will save the last time you did it. So what a lot of our customers do that do a lot of special ordering is they have a printer that just has labels in it, and it's sitting where their orders are coming in, and so that's all it is. It's one little printer. You can go out and buy a cheap printer for $49 and just have labels sitting in it all day long. And I just click here, and now it's obviously going to print 3 labels, and it's basically saying, okay, one's for Mike, one's for Joe, one's for this work order. And now you'd put those pots in a bag, or you'd stick the label right on the pot, and it goes on a shelf. Obviously, this is going to your service department. These 2 will probably go on some shelf, which is called your special order shelf. So now when that customer comes walking in the door, and he says, I got an email, says my pot's here, you go over to the computer, you type in his name, the invoice pops up and says, okay, you owe me X amount of dollars. And now you say, wait a second, you go back to your special order shelf. His name is sitting on the pot. So everything is a lot easier. So now next thing is, do I want to print bin location report? Now it's asking me to print a bin location report because it realizes, okay, I told you the pots that are going to your customers in service. Okay, now I'm going to tell you the pots that you need to put away in inventory. And so this is an inventory report that basically says, okay, these pots are now going to inventory. And this is the quantity, and there's where they're going. It sorts it by bin location. And obviously notice we changed the description on that pot. Now, one thing you keep in mind, and obviously if you have barcoding, it'll ask you if you want to print barcode labels for these pots that just received. So what we've done there is a big giant circle. Customer came in and said, okay, I needed a pot. I hit one key, one little key. F7. It went into my clipboard. I went over here and said, okay, just order it. There again, I hit one key, order it. It assigned an order number. I then faxed it in, called it in, or sent it in electronically, and now it shows up, and I click on this button here. I never had to type in any pot numbers. I just said, okay, it's here, and it told me exactly who it's for, put it in the invoice for me, and even printed the customer's name on it to make it easy for me so when the customer comes to pick it up. So it kind of went around in a big giant circle. Meantime, customer can call up and says, what's my name? My name is Mike. And now we can actually see. Okay, remember Mike had 2 pots that he was waiting for. Well, now this one just came in. There's the pot that we just received. There's the pot that's still outstanding. So, anybody can see exactly what's going on. Also, when you're in here, if you just hit the enter key, these are every single thing that's still on that clipboard. And I can see, so now I'm looking at everything. I got Mike who's waiting for stuff. There's some in-house stuff that's waiting for things. We got Tom. We got, everybody. So I can actually, let's see what's going on with Tom. Well, Tom, his pots are, hasn't come in yet. That's the guy that ordered that one there. We haven't posted that one yet. And so I know the status of what's going on. Okay, let's do another thing. Let's go in and post the other one that came in. Post orders. This one here was vendor O, so I'm going to type in O. There again, let's just go through this one more time. That's the one we just did on the 28th. A very simple order, 2 pots. Now on the next chapter, we're going to be going over this screen in a little bit more detail and bringing up a large order with 100 pots and showing you some of the really neat features. But right now, we're just keeping it simple. We just want to go over the flow of things from special orders to when the pot's received. Okay, let's just keep it simple. We're going to say that came in, that came in. Now, keep in mind, if you change the price for a pot that was ordered for a customer, it will not go out and change the price in the customer's, if you quoted that customer a price, like, hey, it's going to be $27, and now all of a sudden it went up to $31. It is not going to automatically go out there and just charge them $31. Obviously, you'd be fighting with a lot of customers if somebody gave you a deposit and you told them it was 27, and then when they come to pick it up, it's 31. That's pretty much, you'll lose a lot of customers if that's your philosophy. You can do that if you want to go in and change it, but the computer won't do it automatically because obviously that you'll be arguing with a lot of people. So if we do change the price, it won't go out and all of a sudden maybe the customer gave you 100% and all of a sudden, oh, I'm sorry, but you owe me $5 more because the price went up. Hey, that's not my concern. That shouldn't happen. You should never really run into that circumstances if you have manufacturer files, because with your manufacturer files, you always are usually up to date on pricing. So that's something that never ever should occur. The only time it would occur is on manufacturers that you may not have a manufacturer price for and you're manually keeping track of it. Okay, so let's just say that these pots both came in perfectly fine. And keep in mind, this one here, the seal kit, that's going to a whole bunch of people. You know, that's the one that we did to 2 or 3 different customers, 2 different work orders, and I think we actually said we want some for inventory. So those 20 now, when I say post it, which is what I want to do, it's going to say, okay, they're for somebody. And there again, they're going to 4 different people. Tom is getting 4, Mike is getting 1, this RO here is getting 1, and RO 716 is getting 10. And that's where they're going. And so there again, it's going to go through the same sequence. It notified these 2 guys here that their pots are in. So now they got an email letting them know that they're here. They want to come get them. If I want, I can print a special order label, obviously, just like we did before. You know, here's the people that the pots came in for. Now there should be, and there again, these are the ones that are going to inventory. Those 4, remember I changed the quantity and said, okay, let's give 4 will stock. So now I have 4 in inventory that I didn't have before. So it just puts them all together. And so now let's go in and just see what happened here. I'm going to exit out of here and I'm going to go into the sales program because this is where it all happens. Customer comes walking in and says, hey, my name's John. I got this email says my pots are here. Well, okay. You do the same thing. Somebody's here to pick up some pots. Special order inquiry. What's your name? My name is John. Okay. Okay, John Doe, right? Yeah. Okay, John. Yeah, your pot is here. It looks like you're going to owe me $578. You know, so, you know, if he says, okay, well, invoice me for what we have here. You know, we're going to $578. There's what he gave me for a deposit, $1,000. And there again, everything's done automatically. You know, I don't have to type in pot numbers. I don't have to do anything. I just type in his name. It's here. You owe me $578. If he says, okay, I need a couple more pots, obviously I can sell him anything he wants. Okay, anything else you need? And we can go on and on and on. This is just selling him anything. This pot here, all pots that are special order, will not have a bin location on them because you didn't pull them out of a bin location. It's a special order pot that came in on an order. This obviously you pulled out of one of your bin locations. If he's going to cash it out, yep, end of whip. He's taking these home. Now the sale is rung up and he can pay me any way he wants. Okay. So any customer we have here, you know, there again, if we go in and we look at Tom, you know, and is Tom. Same thing. Those pots, that seal kit that he was waiting for, the 4 of them, they're here. We took a $100 deposit. He owes me $6 and something cents. If he says invoice him, fine. You know, okay. You want to buy anything else? Sure. If you don't want to buy anything, or if he says, I'll pick them up later, you're going to hit the save key. Yeah, I'll get them tomorrow. I just want to make sure they're here. Maybe he called up on the phone, just wanted to verify. Hey, okay, I want to make sure. He's going. End of whip. There again, balance due is $6. Maybe we're going to do a split payment. Maybe he only has $5 on him, and he's going to use a check for the rest. So there again, it just goes around in a big circle. Same thing with those pots that we put in here for inventory. They obviously went right to inventory. Okay. That's kind of the flow of special orders. Now we're going to be covering some other things on Chapter 2, but keep in mind, I just want to recap what we did. This is something that saves a lot of time, and you really want to use this feature. It's a very key feature in the system. So keep in mind what happened. If you didn't use the computer system, you would have had to type the number in just to get the price and find the information about the price, then find out that you didn't have it. You would have had to write it down someplace. You then would have had to then order it, and you're probably going to type it or write it again. Now when the pot gets received, if you didn't use the special order function, you'd have to type it in that you received the pot. And of course, if you did that, it would put it right into inventory. So now you're typing it for a third or fourth time. Then you'd have to go in and type it into an invoice again when the customer comes to pick it up, or type it into a service work order again. So you would have had to physically type that pot anywhere from 4 to 5 times just to place that order and have it bill out on a customer's receipt. Obviously, by using the system, all you had to do is type the pot number in once, hit one little key, F7. F7 is a key that says, I want to special order this pot, and put it on that clipboard. Once it's on that clipboard, you'll never, ever have to type it again. The computer now will say, okay, I'm going to go into orders. I'm going to click here, and you hit one key. Order it. You know, and you know, you want to order it, it'll order it. And once the thing is ordered, it knows it's coming in. So you never had to type that pot again. You didn't have to type it in when you ordered it. You didn't have to type it in when it was received. When it was received, it automatically put it right into the invoice where it belongs, or the service work order. So obviously it's a real time saver. And if you're using the event processing, it will automatically notify the customer when the pot comes in. This can save you hours every single day. So it's something that you really want to use. You know, go play with it. Go do some dummy special orders if you want. It's really simple, but you've got to use it to really, you know, get the hang of it. I mean, you know, using it is the whole key here. And this is something that's going to save you lots and lots of time. I can't stress you how valuable this is and how much time you're going to save, and how more organized your business will be by doing it this way. Okay, this concludes Chapter 1 of Level 2. Like I said, if you have any questions and you need to call support, call support. They're here to help you. And we'll move on to Chapter 2.